Okay. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Hope everyone's been having a great week and catching all the sessions you wanted to. I think we are all the tough ones that are like going all week after the party last night, and here we are still working hard, right? So thanks for joining us today. My name is Sue Hartford. And I am Senior Director of Product Marketing at Microsoft. My team works on some of the really mission-critical workloads that customers are working on moving into the cloud, things like Oracle, SAP, VMware. And so we look end-to-end across everything that our customers and our partners need to make that successful, all the way from working with our product teams, with our business teams, our support teams, delivery across the way. So hopefully this week you've caught a session or two learning about the multi-cloud solutions that we've created with Oracle. Today is going to be a little bit more about how to get that going, how to make that actually work and get that migration started. I'm thrilled to be joined today by one of our customers here from McKesson, as well as one of our partners, Accenture. And so the plan today is I'm going to give you an overview, and then I'm going to invite them up on stage, and we're going to do a little bit of Q&A. So if you have any questions, we'll have time for that also at the end. All right, so the partnership with Oracle has actually been going on as long as we've needed to support our mutual customers. And so obviously we're both very strong enterprise providers. That's been going on for more than 30 years in terms of customers running Oracle alongside Microsoft technologies like Windows Server, right? But we've been really a lot more active here in the cloud years as customers are migrating and modernizing. And so we've been innovating together around how do we help our customers do what they need to do when they put things like their applications in Azure, but they had things in the Oracle Database services in the Oracle Cloud. We started out by just interconnecting those two, putting our data centers close by each other. But we still weren't able to accomplish quite the latency and performance that our customers needed. So about 3 years ago, based on a lot of customer demand, we actually brought that interconnect into the data center. Oracle brought their actual Exadata infrastructure that they run their own OCI cloud on into the Azure data centers, where we were able to put it on the same network, the same Azure networking, and get that amazing performance sub-millisecond that our customers need. So that is what we've been working on now for about 3 years. And it's basically I would say it's been an interesting journey as we've onboarded customers because we've got a very comprehensive solution now. We essentially have all of the Oracle databases available. This week, one of the things we announced is we brought the base database. That service is now available. So we started with the Exadata. We have Exadata with Exascale, and we also have Autonomous. So really, as customers move to the cloud, if they want to bring their existing database, they can, or they can choose to modernize during that process and migrate up the chain a little bit as well. So we're excited to have that. So customers that are onboarding really are finding, in many cases I'm hearing, performance improvements over what we're doing on premises, which is pretty exciting. I think for us to hear that at the end of that, before you get busy starting to innovate, that you get just some great, results at the infrastructure level. Now, we also wanted to make sure that from a licensing and pricing, that we streamlined it. So we wanted to, the technical process and the databases look the same. We support RAC and all those Oracle technologies that are very important. But from a licensing perspective, the pricing looks the same as it would if you were an OCI. The same pricing applies when you come to Azure. You can take advantage of the Oracle licensing commitments. You also blend that with the Microsoft. So if you have a Microsoft, what we call a MAC, Microsoft Azure consumption commitment, that you can spend down on those credits as well. So we've blended the programs together from both Oracle and Microsoft. And our goal there is to make that streamlined. And so we've been also joint support. That's super important. We had some of our support folks here from Microsoft this week in the booth because they're here meeting with their counterparts. and learning and making sure that we continue to have a very strong relationship to support our customers, because we know these are mission critical workloads, and that's table stakes, that's expected. And then finally, regions. We're very excited. We've announced a few more regions just recently. We've now got 28 live. We've got several more coming, and so we expect to be at 30 or more by the end of the calendar year. So we're excited to offer this global footprint for our customers, because our customers need this where they're doing their business, close to their employees, their customers. And it's been interesting to roll out. One of the things that we've done very uniquely, and this is really just Microsoft, the way an expectation our customers have, is to make sure that we have dual zone availability in every region, so that if you need that failover and high resiliency, that you have that option in all of these regions. So that has been a commitment that we make that's very unique. And you can get all of the MAA, silver, gold, and even platinum with the Oracle Database at Azure. So I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the announcements we did this week. So just a little bit on the product front. I already talked about the regions, that we've got new regions that have come live, and all of the different Oracle Database services. In addition to the Oracle Database services that I've talked about, it's been nice to bring online, make sure that we've got the 23 AI, the latest database technology from Oracle, is available here. And we also focus, I would say, a lot on how do we make sure that we're giving you not just that regional failover availability, but the features that you can get inside of Azure give you the right kind of security and resiliency that you need. So a lot of the features that we've been bringing online over the last year or two are in the area of networking. How do we make sure that your networking is we've got all the features for that, security, and that type of thing. So this week we announced, from a management perspective, we have Azure customers in the room? Yeah. So if you're familiar with Azure Arc, Azure Arc is really the control plane that runs throughout Azure, and all of our management services tie into Azure Arc, which then sees every single service that we have in Azure. It also extends on-premise and into other clouds. And so we now have Oracle Database at Azure completely tooled to work with Azure Arc. We had previously announced that in terms of our security suite of products, we've made sure that this works very well with Microsoft Sentinel, but this week we've also announced Microsoft Defender. Microsoft Defender, almost a standard out in the world in terms of even on-prem, in terms of our servers and PCs and everything that we're running, but that is a technology that we're also extending to Oracle Database at Azure. And then finally, when we talk about AI-ready infrastructure, with so many of the customers that I talk to have spent so much of the time getting their data into the cloud and getting it ready to innovate. And because it's hard, I think if you're innovating with AI, but you can't get to your systems of record, it can be hard to actually do meaningful work that really transforms your organization. And so this is an area where we've been working very closely with our Microsoft Fabric team to make sure that they can get their Oracle data into the OneLake data lake, where now customers can put their Oracle data alongside all of their other data sources in one place and do data analytics, use Power BI to give their users amazing insight into across that, and do that in a way that's not giving everyone access to your Oracle application, because we know that that's obviously you're going to use things like Entra and user access. You don't necessarily want to give everybody in your organization access, but you can get that data mirrored now into something like Fabric and give them access to the data in a place where they can't mess with your production systems, right? And users suddenly can, it's almost like going viral on the network or on the internet, right? You want to give your users the ability to play with that data and do things you never even imagined that they could in terms of transforming how they do their daily lives every day. So this is pretty exciting because in Fabric, not only do you have that Power BI, but you also have Copilot Studio, or sorry, Copilot, I should say, where you've got the ability for them to just go in and ask natural language questions. So most of our customers are very excited about this, and now that we've just recently made that integration work with our Oracle databases, we're just looking forward to seeing some really exciting use cases there. And then finally, in terms of the Oracle customers, many of them, of course, are using Golden Gate as their data transfer tool. And so we wanted to make sure that that runs really well as a first-class citizen in Azure. So we are also now offering that on Oracle Database at Azure. Now, moving beyond the product, I said this is a session where we're going to talk a little bit more about how do we streamline the programs and the business side of this. And so, one of the things that we have at Microsoft is something called the Azure Accelerate program. In prior years, you might have known that as the Azure Migrate and Modernize program. And so I'm going to talk about that more today. But we, this week, announced that this is now available for your Oracle workloads as well. So, and then on the partner front, many of our partners that support customers have been asking, can I, in terms of when a customer wants to purchase Oracle Database at Azure, which is available in the Microsoft Marketplace, instead of doing that through just Oracle and Microsoft, I want to be able to resell that as well. And so now that is available for our partners to do. Okay, so moving on, so I talked about the simplified purchasing. That means customers can now purchase. You can purchase from Oracle, you can purchase in Microsoft, or you can go through a partner. I'm going to go into mostly here, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Azure Accelerate program and how all of you should be thinking about that, and as you streamline, to hopefully streamline your migration and give you the support you need. So the first thing that I think is really important is just your access to trusted experts. So this means that this is a program we work with all of our partners on, and they're able to, on behalf of the customers, come and work with Microsoft and get access to all of our resources. That includes things like our own customer success organization building out Azure landing zones and playbooks for what is a highly resilient, highly secure migration and deployment look like for Oracle running in Azure, so that you're not guessing. We don't need our customers trying different things. As we work with customers, we have a blueprint. So that is here, and that's a part of the experts that you get from Microsoft, and it's what we ask our partners to follow as well, so that we have a very predictable environment that ensures high success for our customers. We also have something we call the Cloud Accelerate Factory. Now, this is actually a zero-cost program of where Microsoft, our organization, will actually work with customers to do parts of your planning and even parts of your migration for approximately 30 of our different Azure services. Now, a lot of times, this is something that you can either do directly with Microsoft or more commonly, actually with the partner. The partner might say, listen, we're going to take advantage of and have Microsoft do this piece with you. But we then we'll work with you perhaps on let's work on the modernization, let's work on the innovation. But Microsoft knows how to just kind of streamline these big migrations. Let's have them do that piece. So this is a really nice part of this program. And so as this is the expert part, we also have a lot of training for our partners, and so make sure that they're aware of all of this. Secondly, unlocking investments. We put a lot of funding behind this program. And again, we make this available to our partners, so they can come to a customer and say, listen, migrations are expensive, they take time and money. Let's make sure that, you know, we're making this the most efficient for you, because we want you to come out the other end and have this make business sense, have a good ROI for your organization. And so those are programs that are available. We also have Azure credits. So a lot of times when a customer makes that commitment and says, you know, hey, I'm going to bring this set of workloads to Azure, we're able to say, you know, bring funding to that and just make that business case make sense for them. And then finally, skilling. I think this is one of the undersung parts of this program, because when you're bringing a team within your organization forward into the cloud, and they've been perhaps running their Oracle databases on-prem, it's not just about the technical. A lot of time it is about reskilling and learning those new cloud skills. Most of our professionals are excited to do that, but do you have the resources to do that? And so we have, as part of this program, a lot of free funded and free skilling activities that you can take advantage of. All right, and then finally, you know, when we think about the migration programs, we always want to start with an assessment, right? We have a lot of tools, like we have an Azure Migrate tool that can look at all of your workloads and give you an assessment of your environment, recommendations of, you know, what would be the best setup, what would that cost in Azure, and get you started there. That could include things like a pilot or a proof of concept, or even go so far as sometimes the tooling actually can do the full workload. You know, you might bring your Oracle databases into Oracle Database at Azure, but you maybe have an set of applications that you want to bring in, put in at other, you know, areas of compute in Azure. And so we have tooling that does some of that very smoothly for you. All right, so we have, as I said, this covers over you know, many Azure services. And so these are just some examples of supported scenarios, right? You might have your Oracle migration that you're planning to do, but databases don't run themselves, right? You've got applications, you might have SAP applications, you might be using virtual desktops. For some of your users, you may have, you know, you want to go get set up on Defender for cloud. So these are all supported scenarios in these programs. All right. And I think I've already talked about this. This is relatively new, so we're very excited about it. This Azure Cloud Accelerate Factory, again, these are, you know, this is a Microsoft no-charge program of experts available to all of you. And so as you engage with us around our Azure Accelerate program, be sure to ask about this and how we can help our customers and our partners unlock access to these experts at Microsoft. Okay, now I'm excited to shift over and invite my guests up, and we're going to have a little bit of a Q&A and talk about how they've kind of engaged with Microsoft in terms of some Oracle and other workload migrations with Microsoft, taking advantage of some of these programs potentially. So I want to invite Max and Mark up on stage with me.
Thanks, Sue. You're going to put me in the middle?
All right. All right, well, let's start maybe with a quick introduction from both of you. Would you like to start?
Sure. So I am Max Napper. I manage our technical operations within a business unit of McKesson called Ontada. So I take care of a lot of the day-to-day operations, make sure applications and infrastructure run. My latest task that I've been working on for quite a bit of time has been, you know, kind of moving our workloads from our data center into public clouds or Azure.
Yep, Mark Giroux with Accenture. Coincidentally, I'm actually out of our Oracle practice, which I think is great, right? We're at AI World, but out of that business group, I lead our multi-cloud capabilities, right? So very strong partnership with Microsoft. Been driving a lot of differentiation with our mutual clients in the database at Azure space.
Awesome, all right. Well, Mark, why don't we start with you? Maybe, you know, tell us a little bit about Accenture's partnership with Microsoft, and how does that shape the way you deliver solutions for customers like McKesson?
Yeah, so our partnership with Microsoft is actually pretty unique because we have a joint investment in Avanade, which, if you haven't heard of Avanade, right, is a split board between Microsoft and Accenture, and I treat it as somewhat of an acquisition, but we have a ton of Azure skills, capabilities that we use to support getting our mutual clients to the cloud. So in a scenario like a Oracle Database at Azure deployment, my team out of our Oracle practice partners very well with our team out of the Avanade practice to handle all of the Azure capabilities. We bring the Oracle skills to the table. And then, of course, you mentioned some of the programs here that Microsoft offers to both partners and clients, such as the Cloud Accelerate Factory. We've even got the technical resources out of the global black belts, right? Which are the Tiger team, effectively, right? So it's actually been a fun ride the last couple years, right? This journey obviously started when Satya and Larry announced that expanded partnership, and that's where I've focused my time. It's really understanding how to bring the best of Accenture, the best of Microsoft, and the best of Oracle to support our clients like Max.
All right. So it sounds like the launch of Oracle Database at Azure has really helped you support your customers better than maybe before that solution existed in the market.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great, right? So if you think about this from we'll say a competitive standpoint, right? I mean, all of the customers in the room, you get phone calls from all the cloud vendors, all the technology vendors, please buy my product, I've got this for this use case. And of course, even internally at Accenture, right, we have an Oracle business group, we have a Microsoft business group, and a lot of times, up until 2 years ago, we were kind of vying for that same project or program, right? You should take these workloads and move them to OCI, I would be saying previously, right? Or you should take these workloads and move them to Azure. But I think if we want to focus on customer success as the priority, right? This partnership, the expanded partnership, has really allowed us to just come together for the success of the client, which has been a fantastic experience.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so speaking of the client and the customer, Max, tell me a little bit about the challenges that you were facing with your Oracle workloads prior to Oracle Database at Azure being available.
Yeah, so I moved into our business unit a few years back and moved into kind of a world where we depended a lot on our on-prem infrastructure. And it is a lot of infrastructure. We didn't have much virtualization. And so over the last couple of years, we've been kind of working to augment that on-prem presence with some Azure services. So we've been building out new features, functionality, using Kubernetes, containerized workloads, which has been working fairly well, but the problem is our centralized database is still on-prem. And when we, some of these newer features could tolerate some latency, but a lot of our critical applications, you separate that database and the application, and it did not perform well. So we've kind of been pinned to this data center because we have such a mission-critical database. It's very large, like everyone else probably in this room. It's probably the world's biggest database and hundreds of terabytes of data. It's always been a challenge, like how do we take that thing and move it into Azure? We've moved some non-prod environments into Azure. When we did that, we kind of struggled. Like we had to find a VM type that allowed the number of disks that we needed. We also had to find the right max throughput, and then on top of it, the CPU and the RAM. It just wasn't an easy process. So, first off, when the interconnects were announced, I'm like, hey, that sounds great, but do I need more networking in my life? And so this last part of the puzzle, the Oracle Database at Azure, really kind of unblocked us. And even with that, it makes the database migration a lot easier for us. And so now we can take a look at, and along with this cloud migration we're doing more of that modernization. And it's slight modernization, but the database move, in my opinion, is a piece that's going really well. And now we can focus on some other things to kind of get some upgrades along the way.
All right. Well, as someone who used to be in the networking vendor side of things, I love your statement. Do I really need more networking? I understand the pain that can exist there. So, Mark, in terms of, when you started working with McKesson, what made you think that, Oracle Database at Azure would be a great fit for them, or anything you want to add to what Max said?
Yeah, so for this particular, sorry guys, been yelling a lot this week. For this particular program with Max and the Ontada team, this was really the culmination of a lot of the efforts and work that the Oracle team and the Microsoft team had been pulling together with Max and his team for some time, right? McKesson and Accenture have had a long-standing relationship, and we were just kind of helping to push it along. And what we really brought to the table were subject matter expertise around the Oracle components of this solution, right? My group in particular, we were, I say I'm a child of acquisition, right? We were acquired by Accenture about 12 years ago, which seems irrelevant today. That's a long time. We are now Accenture, obviously, but it's still very important because we still operate as an independent core group of subject matter experts within our Oracle practice, and our background is in core database performance tuning, engineered systems, everything that ultimately makes up this solution with the Azure piece, right? So what we've been doing with Max and his team, and Sukumar just walked in, is really to just help with the subject matter expertise around the data integration capabilities, the Exadata setup, right? Just all those core Oracle capabilities that this brings. So.
Okay. And then were you, in terms of some of these programs, or were you both able to take advantage of some of the benefits from the Azure Accelerate program?
Yeah, and from our perspective, we've been working with Microsoft over the last several years. So I have regular meetings with Microsoft, and they're always there to, hey, we can pull in a product team. They'll let us know about maybe some different services we can take advantage of. And then when we started kind of mapping out this whole, how do we migrate and get out of our data centers, we leverage some of the program there to have some planning, put that design together, put timelines together, and then through it all, and then Oracle, of course, another good partner in this, brought in Accenture and helped us with this database piece. And again, it's been a great experience for us.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask a little bit more, maybe just about the experience with Oracle Database at Azure. I heard you say the other day that you're not quite fully deployed yet, but you're partway through the process. How's that going?
Yeah, so of course, we spun some things up. We kicked the tires. We did some rat testing to kind of prove out, hey, can this thing perform to what we need? Does it play in our networks? And we checked all those boxes. Then we started moving in some non-production workloads. We have, a good handful of non-production workloads now running. Our QA teams are testing some things out, but some of the testing that we're doing too is also the containerized version of our application, just to make sure that works. Along the way, some other things that have been fun for us is we're always juggling multiple things at the same time. And so we've had some demands on us to say, hey, we're going to need to set up a new environment to support this project. Well, in the past, it's been, now we're going to have to purchase some hardware. We're going to have to get some storage. We're going to have to string some cables. This is going to be painful, right? And then you have to put it all together. And now that we have kind of this Oracle database at Azure, we've already stepped into it. It was easy for us to spin that up and then have an extra version of our database there that we can take advantage of in just a couple days.
Awesome. Yeah, you've offloaded some of that less interesting work.
Oh yeah, we can focus on adding some value.
Awesome. Well, so that's a great transition. And kind of my last question is, I think the point of getting this all here is to really unlock some of that innovation. So, just curious, what are some of your plans to after you get that migration going? How is this going to help?
Yeah, and there's always a lot of plans. I love to dream, and so and sometimes maybe some of the ideas are a little too far out there. But this move into kind of containerized workloads is definitely going to help a lot of our day-to-day operations. So I'm excited to see that in place. But we need to continue to kind of grow our availability. And also one of the things right now, and at least a pain point for me, is just, we do a lot of weekend work, it seems like. When we need some time for our applications, for downtime, to do upgrades, do patching. This cloud world is going to enable quite a bit to kind of lessen that load, but we're also looking at how do we continue to scale this application. And so we're working with Accenture right now on setting up some replication so we can go to more of an active kind of state, so we can get to this kind of new world where we can take different regions offline and do some of our upgrades, kind of behind the scenes. So that way, again, we're not working weekends, we're spending daytime hours, we can test things out and then throw the traffic back over. So it's a lot of fun, yeah, it's
All
fun.
right, your world's going to look a lot different.
I
sounds like
sure
next
hope so.
year. I hope so too. That sounds great. I mean, Mark, when you think more across all of your customers, when you think about the innovation that's being unlocked, any thoughts that you want to add?
No, I'll just say that's the key here, right? I mean, Max talked about that a little bit. When you think about the big rocks that are typically the Oracle database, right? The heartbeat of your organization from a data perspective. We want to be able to innovate. We want to be able to drive value. Most of you, if not all of you in this room that are customers, have made significant capital investments in these technologies, whether it's Azure or it's Oracle, and these technologies are driving your business. So you got to be able to tap into that data, the quality of that data, the uniqueness of that data. And the biggest thing and the most exciting thing for me about this, being able to come back to that customer success mentality, is just that we can now get all of that data stranded on-prem and push it up into the Azure data layer and start to tap into some of those services and microservices that you just talked about.
Yeah, no, I'm excited. You know, we should come back every year and we'll just keep talking about the innovation that's getting unlocked. So excited about that.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I just wanted to see if anybody in the room has any questions. Let's have a little time for that. We've got a microphone. There we go. Try again.
Hello.
All right. Thank you for the session. It's been very insightful, and I enjoy the information coming from here. But I, as a customer, it's like I'm still trying to understand the partnership between Azure and Oracle in terms of the cloud, because they are also competitors. But there's now collaboration or partnerships. So because we use Azure a lot, and we also have Oracle. We recently purchased the Oracle Exadata on our on-prem data center, and we've kind of been pitched by Oracle too that, well, our data center you save money moving to our data center. But here I'm also hearing Microsoft saying that there's no. It's basically the same pricing. The pricing are similar. So for a customer, I'm kind of spoiled for choice. I mean, what do I need to gain by?
Which way do you go?
Which way do I go? Everybody's offering the same thing. Everybody's collaborating. They're competing at the same time. So it's a bit confusing.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can give you my perspective, and then
Sure.
we can go down the row here. But you know, I think for customers, you have to think about where's your center of gravity. What we see is a lot of clouds, or a lot of customers said, you know, I'm already running a lot of my workloads in Azure, and so I did have, you know, my Oracle data kind of stranded here. How do I bring that together? And so that's why they said, listen, I actually like this Oracle database at Azure because I can get both. I can get both, but I get it in one cloud. And so that would be why you would choose to put everything in Azure. I think if OCI, the cloud, is kind of your center of gravity and that's where you're doing most of your work, then maybe that makes more sense for you. So you want to get your application and your data layers close together. And then I think you also want to think about, you know, the other way you're going to think about your data. So if you're using a service, I don't know what you're doing for a data lake, but you know, you need to pick a data technology so that you can unify all your data. And that, again, that's going to be a technology you need to kind of think about which cloud provider and where do I want to run that. Microsoft, we're really about choice, right? I'm happy if you want to use my first-party workloads that that are Microsoft databases. I'm also happy if you want to come and run an Oracle, a Databricks, a Snowflake. It's all there. So that is our philosophy, is to give the customers the choice so that if you change your mind, even 5 years down the road and you need something different, it's always there. So I try not to make you pick too much. Yeah, maybe a different perspective.
I'll add on to that, and I think I'm going to touch on what I think I heard you lean into a little bit. Is there's still some friction, right? You're seeing a little friction between Oracle and Microsoft, and you're wondering how to get rid of that. So I call it co-opetition now, right? Like, so, I've been in this for the last 2 years. I've been a partner of Oracle's for 15, right? So I've seen, and again, many clients in the room have kind of probably seen and experienced how Oracle goes to market or how their sellers go to market, right? It's very product focused. or historically has been very product focused. So you always had, I think I touched on it a little bit earlier, you had sellers calling, vying for that same bucket of funds, saying this is the solution you should go with, and you've got another seller from Oracle telling you the same thing, right? Oracle over the last 15 years, and probably more recently, even in the last 2 years, because of this co-opetition scenario or the collaboration and expanded collaboration with Microsoft, has really started to shift their go-to-market focus to we'll call it a single seller mentality, right? So it's more solution-based. As an SI, right, as Accenture, it's a breath of fresh air. And I'm sure to the customers in the room, it's a breath of fresh air because we're now working collaboratively together. And this is how we go to market with you. It's customer-focused, success-focused, and solution-focused, right? So, but if we think about the Oracle Database at Azure solution itself, Oracle's focus is the database, right? Again, we know, and Oracle knows, that you've all made significant investments in the Oracle Database. And in many cases, you're not going to be able to move away from that because of the investments that you've made and everything that is running on it and how important that is to the business. So this whole data platform, right, or Oracle Database at Azure solution and their go-to-market strategy with that is, you're invested in the database. We just want you to put it wherever you want it, right? We want to meet you where you are, right? So there's still going to be the co-opetition, right? Oracle's still going to come and say, hey, you can just deploy this. It's Oracle, you're on Exadata, you can deploy this in OCI natively, right? And we'll move your application there. You're going to have Azure sellers that are going to say the same thing, right? But that's where it's, I would say, I'm not just trying to pitch myself here, right? But if I speak generally about having a strong partner or an SI partner that understands the relationship, right? I call it workload dispositioning. The discovery phase, the assessment phase of any program is probably the most important part of it, right? Everybody knows how to move the data, but where you want to move it is what's the most important. And it's going to be driven by use case and what you're trying to get out of it. So if you have an SI or a partner in there, they can bridge that gap that you're potentially seeing or get rid of that friction, because what I'm going to do is now come in because I'm an agnostic vendor, right? I have a Microsoft business group and I have an Oracle business group, and we're going to come work with you and say, hey, these workloads, it might make sense to just put them all up in Azure. That's where you want your application. You want to be able to tap into these Azure services, move all of these workloads into Azure, but these big rocks right here, they may not fit, to Max's point, right? Like there was no option, right, other than Oracle Database at Azure for those particular workloads. So we're going to say, all right, well, we're going to take these big rocks and we're going to move those into Oracle Database at Azure. And your Oracle seller's happy, right? Oracle's happy in general. Everybody's getting revenue out of it. You guys are getting a solution that makes sense for you. I kind of went on a little tangent there, but I sensed that you were getting at a little, there's friction. How do I resolve it? I would just say generally, if you're not working with a partner, right? It doesn't have to be Accenture. If you're not working with a partner, you don't have a trusted SI in the mix, Microsoft can help you find one. Oracle can help you find one. But find somebody that understands the solution, has a strong partnership on both ends, and can really help. I call it the power of three, right? It's not a new concept. I've kind of latched onto it with this, but like if I'm Accenture, if I can bring Accenture, Oracle, and Microsoft together for the success of the client, that's all I'm focused on.
All right, thank you. Any other questions in the room? Oh, here we've got one. Sorry.
Sorry, I came in a little late, so my apologies. Thank you for the additional insights. I'm still a little confused around what do you mean by Azure Oracle Database versus OCI Oracle? Like, why would you have two? Like, it sounds the same in my head,
Yeah.
but I don't know that. I know that it's different. Can you just clarify a little bit more on that front too, please?
Yeah, when I think about OCI, it is the platform that Oracle runs their clouds on. And on top of that platform, they offer their database services. So you can go in and say, I want the Exadata database service, or I need the autonomous database service, right? And so really what we did was we took that slice of OCI, including the hardware infrastructure that they run, and we're operating that in Azure data centers today. So it's exactly what you would get in an OCI cloud data center.
And to add to that, so the Azure VMs that we use, they're on the same network as this Oracle appliance that's in the Azure data center. So again, less networking, but they sit side by side, really low latency. So I don't have to worry about connecting my clouds together. This is within an Azure data center.
I've got a really great pizza analogy about it as well, but we don't need to get that on a recording. So, yeah.
But it's pretty cool. You know, you go in and you go into the Azure portal, and there are your Oracle, the same Oracle Database services you would see in OCI. So we've done the work. It's a fair amount of engineering work we've done to integrate that and streamline that for our customers. Yeah.
Great questions, by the way, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other question? We're all good? Yeah? Okay, one more. Awesome.
There's a slide you showed about your regions, right? Roadmap, but where I come from, I mean, there's a lot of things around data sovereignty, right? So that's part of the reasons why we kind of invested in Oracle Exadata data center, in our local private data center, right?
Right.
So in Africa, I can't see any plans for Azure to have a data center in Africa.
Go back to the map here for you. So we are building to where our customer demand is. So I would ask you to come and talk with us.
All right.
Yes. So let us know, work with your Microsoft account team, and that is how these are being built out, is where we see customer need.
I will say that, again, the partnership has been great. What I've seen throughout this whole process is demand is really going to drive the regional availability, right? There have been many scenarios throughout the rollout over the last 2 years where we've had clients that had demand in specific regions that maybe weren't on the roadmap, but because that demand was there, we're now able to open up the conversation between Oracle and Microsoft to start planning out whether that region would become available. And it's been a successful partnership in that sense, right? So if there's demand for a specific region that you don't see on here, there might be other customers that have that same demand, and Microsoft tracks that.
We track
Microsoft
that.
and Oracle track that.
Yep, and the account teams talk directly with our engineering teams, and that is how we invest. Yes. Okay. All right, well, thank you all for the wonderful questions today. Thank you, Max and Mark, for joining me today.
Thank you.
And hope everyone has a great rest of your day here at the event.